Morning, everybody. How are we all doing? Sammy, United People's TV. And we have got an interesting show lined up for you today. There has been a lot of developments, a lot of news about Ratcliffe and the Glazers and the INEOS influence at Manchester United since that statement was released on Christmas Eve. And there's more news about a growing influence of INEOS and Ratcliffe at Man United that even goes beyond the football operations. Some news broke yesterday after an all-staff meeting at Old Trafford. I'm going to run through it this morning, what the Athletics got to say. Also going to run through some more information and details on the Omar Barada signing, what kind of went on behind the scenes. Then we're going to speak about Anthony Martial having surgery, being out for another 10 weeks. Well, goodbye, Anthony Martial then. Well, that's the end of that. And we'll speak about all the other news, and I'll round it all up. You know what to do. Get involved in the comments. I'll try and answer as many of your questions and comments as I possibly can. And yeah, let's enjoy it. Who's here from the member gang? Let's have a look. We've got Off Key. We've got Carl. Good morning to you. Brian. We've got Wendy. Josh. Kenny. We've got Edwich Monkton. We've got Nikki. Andrew. Susan. We've got Red Devils. Mike Scully. Mr. Anderson. Mr. Anderson. Every so often I watch the Matrix films. Man, they're like 20 years old now. Although there is something that happened yesterday that made me feel, I think, older than ever. And I'll save it for the end of the show. Yeah. Anyway, who's here from Facebook? 1 second. I need to cough. There we go. That's better. Good morning, Graham Kemp. We've got Mike. We've got Dan Roberts, Gary Cole, James Williams, lots of regular faces, lots of new faces. I've really been enjoying the content that I've been able to do over the last couple of weeks. And yeah, I think I'm going to keep enjoying it. I really do. Because what came out yesterday was not something that I expected to be formalized, I think is the way I would like to describe it. Because truth be told, right? Jim Ratcliffe getting 100% control of the football operations for only 25% control of Manchester United. It didn't really make much sense. In terms of how businesses normally operate, but then the Glazers aren't normal operators. They're absolutely, like, and I say this with capital letters, crap businessmen. They are crap. They've got the golden goose of Manchester United. All they've done is pluck it, never fed it, never done anything. That's all they've done. They've got failing more, like, their mall business has failed. Abraham Glazer, I think, is getting. He's getting. They are so bad. And now we're hearing that not only do INEOS and Ratcliffe have control of the football operations, but the Glazers are even giving them influence and control on the business side of things. So you know what this is really shaping up like? And I will say this with a massive sense of pessimism and a massive sense of, well, let's be careful sort of thing. But it really, really feels like the Glazers are moving towards, and happily moving towards, and willingly moving towards being passive majority owners. So despite them technically still having all the control on the board, they've got the decisive votes in the boardroom. The Glazers are pretty much, and this will sort of knock you sick and it'll piss you off, but it's the truth. The Glazers know that if they just sit there and let INEOS and Ratcliffe do the job, they're going to make more money. They will make significantly more money by not meddling, by simply just pissing off into the background, they need to do less work to make more money. It is the most ultimate win-win situation for them. But at the same time here, it is a win for Manchester United, and it is a win for Jim Ratcliffe and INEOS. I'm going to run through this story here. And as I said, it really does kind of feel like that step towards, like you can see the path for the full takeover. You really can. People, 18 months, the Glazers can force Ratcliffe to sell. And I was like, please read the headlines. Well, no, please don't read the headlines. Please read the whole article, because they haven't. They can't force him to sell. They can if a huge bid comes in and Ratcliffe's not willing to match it. But let's run through this article here, because this is really interesting. And my lunchtime video is going to be on this today, a little bit more succinct, to the point, and also some more information as well. Man, my porridge is stuck in my throat. Manchester United staff have been informed that Jim Ratcliffe and INEOS's remit will encompass more than solely football operations. If we go down here, the Glazer family have reflected on previously agreed arrangements and recognized the scope of INEOS's influence will need to be more broadly defined. Ratcliffe's team will also liaise with the Glazers on business decisions, as they, by definition, will impact the football operations. So you can remember that I said that the appointment of Omar Barada, and we're going to speak about that in a bit more detail soon, was a big decision that the Glazers had to be involved in, because it crossed over both departments. But it seems like they've also you know what this is? This is more, it's not a realization, because they already had that realization in the summer, where not in the summer, last November, when that statement came out about strategic investment. That was the realization. What you're seeing here is an acceptance that they cannot do the job, which is quite an important step here, because giving over control of the football operations is one thing, but realizing, actually, I think INEOS and Ratcliffe might actually know a little bit more about the business side of things as well. Should we? Yeah, we probably should. They probably didn't even know who Omar Barada was. That's what it feels like here. It feels like an acceptance that they know that they are not capable, because they are not capable. And that's why they've driven our club to this point. I'm going to go down here and sort of see what some of your comments are saying on this, because I'll be really interested to see what people think about this. Because for me, this is probably one of the most significant sort of stories that we've seen, and stories that we've discussed here as a community. James Bush, ever thought about doing a weekly podcast with Stretford, Paddock and Goldbridge? No, I haven't. Everybody is on their own path, and I've got my vision and path for United People's TV very clearly defined in my head, and we're doing so many things ourselves. We'll keep making our own brand new path. That's what I've been doing this entire time. A super chat there from William saying, holding 25%, is Ratcliffe the highest percentage of the club? Wasn't Darcy? Yeah. So right now, William, I think with 28.76%. Jim Ratcliffe is the single biggest shareholder on his own, but when you put the Glazers together, they've still got the majority. Oh wow! Look, William, Don, super chat, and he sent in five gifted memberships. Everyone say thanks, William. Make sure you head to the Discord, of course. You know the drill. Right, let me see what you're saying in the comments here. And you're saying this feels like the Glazers' lack of business acumen has really benefited Jim Ratcliffe in negotiations. And you know what I wanted to say about negotiations in this as well, right? Let me pull this part up. I was going to mention this later, but I'm going to mention it now. because I think it's really quite relevant. Where is it? No, I can't remember where I got it actually. I'll pull it up later. But I just want to say this. You remember when Jim Glazer? Jeez, what have I just done there? Sorry, Jim. When Jim Ratcliffe, I think, did like a Q&A with Financial Times in London, and he was asked about buying Manchester United. This was like a while ago now. And he said that he had met the Glazers and they were really nice people. And it got a lot of people's backs up, didn't it? Got my back up as well. There's two ways that this could have been approached, and there was a successful way and there was a way that didn't work. Jassim went for the other angle. Returning United to the former glories. Basically like slapping Glazers upside the head in public. They are so protective of their own image in business that way didn't work. And the more that this is happening, it's clear that Jim Ratcliffe has gained the trust of the Glazers. Maybe by schmoozing them, maybe by, being definitive, maybe by, bringing in Omar Barada and actually showing actions to back up the statements. But it feels like that schmooze has worked. And Manchester United right now are no longer, from a football operations perspective, under control by the Glazers. And INEOS are now actually involved in the business side of things as well. The Glazers have given them more power. Go over here a little bit more. It is now clear that the Glazer family are prepared to provide a broader license and latitude for Ratcliffe's company INEOS to drive change beyond the football side of things. INEOS feel that we know that the commercial possibilities will be huge. And we go over here and we see the latest money chart release. Money chart. Money table. Is it Deloitte? Can never say that word. Deloitte. I think it's Deloitte. Anyway, the highest revenues of clubs across the top 5 leagues. Real Madrid at the top with City. Question mark. No, to be fair, they won some things last year, so it wouldn't be surprised if that was actually that high. Man United are still 5th. Like, in spite of everything. Like, the Glazers have basically been taking like an axe to Man United's commercial capabilities. And somehow, we're still 5th. Like, it doesn't make sense. But it does make sense when you think about the legacy value in the brand of Manchester United, speaking in horrible Glazer business terms. But right there, if we're what, 745 million euros when we're this crap, imagine how big it could be. And again, the penny has finally dropped on the Glazers because, and it's not that the Glazers, it's not that the penny has dropped with the Glazers. It's the fact that their business model, there was no more money to bleed. If Man United still had loads of cash in the bank, you think we would have Jim Ratcliffe in now? No, they'd still be doing the same thing. The dividends would never have got cancelled. They'd still just be milking and happy to take 10, 20 million a year and just go, yeah, that'll do. But not only now has Jim Ratcliffe controlling all the football operations for 25% ownership, he's also helping steer business decisions. This, for me, looks like the start of that long takeover. Well, the start of the long takeover was the 25% for the football operations. But even since the 24th of December, so 1 month ago, was when the statement came out, and that was 25%. That's already been increased to 27.9% because of the investment that's coming, the 200 million that's coming in straight away. And then on top of that, The Glazers are giving INEOS power in business decisions too. This feels good. Of course, I think, and you said it up there earlier, cautious optimism. Yeah, absolutely cautious optimism. But even those who were, and mate, there were plenty of you, and I understood your standpoint to a certain degree, that you were so pro a Qatari takeover, and you saw the money, and it was all, yeah, it was driven by that. It was driven by the fact that the debt would go, we'd have an endless bank of money, we'd win everything. Even those real staunch supporters of that takeover have to admit that Ratcliffe has surprised them in a real positive way over this first month. It surprised me in a positive way. All right. I looked at the 25% takeover. I celebrated it because I thought because the Glazers were never going to be involved in football decisions again. But just kind of every decision that he's made so far, it's early days. A lot of it is words, but this isn't just words. This is Patrick Stewart, our interim CEO, speaking to all staff at Old Trafford, telling them things have changed, telling them down here once again, using the same words. Those that were on the call were once again promised cultural change across United, a football first culture in which all decisions made by the club hierarchy should be focused on what's best for football. Well, this has been repeated a lot and a lot, so many times now that the more you hear it said in meetings, the more we're going to hear this from Ratcliffe in probably 2 to 3 weeks. We should publicly hear from Jim Ratcliffe. He will do a sit down interview with United People's TV. Come on, Jim. He won't do it, but I'd love to at some point get links to the club. There is one link I've got right now. I'm not going to tell you it, but if it happens, it's exciting, and it kind of opens a new door for United People's TV. And I think the only reason that door could possibly be opened is because of the path that we've walked, the journey we've taken. It's been very organic. It's taken a lot longer, but what we've built here at United People's TV is significantly stronger as a consequence. So the journey up's slower, but what you've built is so much stronger and more solid foundations wise. What we're saying down here, Big Mavinsky, you're saying, I'm surprised by how quickly they've acted. They must have done so much research. They had how long did they have? They had 14 months between the statement coming out and the 25% takeover being announced. They had plenty of time to do their research. Let's be honest. Gia, you're saying Brailsford is known for getting the best men he wants for the job. He will also land Ashworth. Brailsford is the key for the change of the whole club. I ran through my structure video earlier this week, and in that video, I was like, well, Jim Ratcliffe he's the enabler. He's the man who brings the money to the table. Dave Brailsford is his right-hand man. He trusts Brailsford to make the decisions, and Brailsford is empowered to make those decisions, although Jim Ratcliffe will have to sign off on it. Then you're going to hopefully have Omar Barada under him, Dan Ashworth under him, Paul Mitchell under him. We're seeing reports suggested that Manchester United's head physio is going to be replaced. And I did my video yesterday, which I really enjoyed doing, actually. Felt quite satisfying to do it. I did a video the day before on what I thought the new structure would be, but I never really mentioned who's going to be leaving. And that's why I did that video yesterday. Because it really does feel, if you're rebuilding something, you might keep the walls, you might, I don't know, you like the floor. You're doing it, you're redecorating a room. You're not necessarily going to gut it all back, take the plasterboard off, go right back to the concrete. Yeah, you might just keep it. I like that feature, I like this. But at Manchester United, there is hardly anybody whose job is safe. And that's what I spoke about in that video yesterday. I spoke about John Murto, Matt Hargreaves, Sam Barnett was that negotiations manager, which sort of news came out, and I gave a bit more information on that. I also looked at the first team conditioning coach. I thought, well, surely he's going to be, you look at our condition, it's terrible. but it might be the physio that goes as part of Gary O'Driscoll's sort of, I suppose, revolution of the medical side of things. People are going to say, "Oh, we're still getting injuries." Like, he hasn't built his team yet at Manchester. It can't happen overnight. Changing the whole medical setup and science of one of the biggest football clubs in the world. Dan, I bet Kath is safe. Kath is safe. Kath's going nowhere. If Kath goes, we definitely riot. I'm going to go read a few of your comments out down here. I hope some of the positivity around the club rubs off on the player, says Robert. I'm going to speak about that in a little bit now. That's something I've reiterated on so many occasions that should be the driver for all these players. And it feels like maybe now is when that's really going to be reflected in the power structure at the club as well. Prasaurus Rex, thank you very much, dude. What are you saying? Let's assume that Jim Ratcliffe gets Manchester United the structure it deserves. In 5 years, where would you want Man United to be off the pitch? Just a nice, easy to answer question there. That right there, my friend, is a video unto itself. If I'm going to write that one down, all right? So I like taking on community ideas for videos. Where is it? Ideas. Look how organized I am. Where do you think United will be in 5 years' time? The vision. There you go. Written down. That's a good idea for a video. But today's video, certainly at lunchtime, is going to be about that changing power, the power shift at Manchester United. All the examples of it and how we can tie it all together, and how it really does feel like the Glazers are moving towards becoming basically silent partners at Manchester United. You won't see anything. You won't hear or see anything from the Glazers. They won't collect any dividends. They won't release any statements. They won't do anything apart from when more shares are bought from them. Apart from when the percentage they own of Manchester United is reduced. That, but the way it's shaping up, that's all we're going to hear from the Glazers anymore. Let's find out. It's been a really, really positive start from INEOS, and I've been so impressed with not only their sort of their rhetoric and how they're speaking, but in their actionable decisions, and to the point where they're getting the Glazers to relinquish some control and influence, control and power on the business side of things too. That's the start of a full takeover. Let me see what you're saying down here in the comments. Alex, if the players have any sense, they know they can replace just like the staff. That happens with any merger and acquisition. If you're in a job and all of a sudden your business gets bought by another business, your job's at risk. There is a chance you're going to be sacked. There is a chance that you are not part of this new organization. There is a chance that the role you had in the old organization now doesn't even exist. So buck up your ideas, prove yourself worthy of being part of this new organization, because this is an INEOS Manchester United era that is hopefully starting. Whether it's an era or not, we'll find out. But the biggest tangible change, like the thing you can like put a pin in, is undoubtedly Omar Barada. And we've spoken about him at quite a lot of length. I've got the deep dive on Omar Barada, still working on that one. I'm not sure when that one's going to be ready. It's a big one, and I really want to make it as high quality as possible. We should hopefully have the Paul Mitchell one this weekend, though, which is really exciting. We've already done Dan Ashworth. We've already done Jean-Claude Blanc and Dave Brailsford. Paul Mitchell's next. And one on Omar Barada when it's ready. But the Omar Barada appointment shocked everybody in the right way. And I'm not just talking about Manchester United fans. And let's find out some more information from a real nice inside story article from The Athletic with a nice bit of info. We'll run through it. We go down here and see what you're saying in the comments. Akash, you sent a super chat. Thank you very much, dude. As always. You're saying INEOS expanding power is a significant step forward towards dismantling the Glazers' parasitic culture. Players walking a tightrope until the summer. The players are. Eric Ten Hag knows he is. Ten Hag's job isn't safe. There's no player inside that squad. Well, you might say Garnacho and Mania. There might be a couple of them. You go, well, they're safe. But 80, probably 75% plus of those players have got to prove that they should be part of this new system coming forward. Because INEOS will not accept mediocrity anymore, which has become something that United, the standards have been eroded. They have been. Like, you can't have a player like Martial at the club for 8 years and then go, wow, yeah, we're a serious club. You just can't. It doesn't make any sense. But let's run through some more here, right? Some more information on this situation. And you know what I'm talking about how this, we've seen examples of this power switch. That statement that was released with Omar Barada that said that, every decision is going to be football focused. Basically, a public admittal that, yeah, we haven't been focused on football for a long time. And that was signed off by Joel Glazer. He's signing a statement which screams, I'm crap as an owner. And he signed it. And he let it go public. Just wouldn't have happened before. Would not have happened. And that's another indicator of a power switch at Manchester United. I thought this was quite interesting. And if we're talking about new things that United are doing that United weren't doing previously, United's approach for Barada was so discreet that senior figures at Old Trafford did not know about it until the story broke on Saturday afternoon. Even the employees of United were surprised by Barada. It's no wonder that only David Ornstein came out with the story when it broke. Even staff at United were like, who's Omar what? Omar Barada? What do you mean, Omar Barada? They kind of found out like when we found out. Nathan, stop the leaks. Well, yeah, because this is from INEOS. It's not from anything to do with players or any power structure that existed at Manchester United before. This was driven by INEOS. And they kept their ship tight. Another change. Dan Yeo, what are you saying down here? I have a hypothesis. Behind closed doors, Jim Ratcliffe struck a deal with the Glazers. He buys 25% first and let him hit a specific KPI in order to buy over another amount of shares. I mean, that's not a hypothesis. That's just business logic. The Glazers know that all the Glazers need to, like, imagine you got that as an offer. Just like think about it. Go, right. So you've been running this business for X amount of years. Yeah, it's good. Now I think I can make it better. So what I'm prepared to do is buy 25% of your business. And you don't have to do anything. You don't have to lift a finger. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to work another hour in your day. And you come back in 3 years' time, and your current investment, I guarantee you that will be increased by like 40%. What do you say? If it goes wrong, you can blame me. If it goes right, you make an absolute shit ton of money. And you don't have to do anything. In fact, I would actively encourage you to literally not do anything. Stay away. It is the dream scenario for the Glazers. But finally one where United and United fans can win at the same time. Because if United is successful, we're successful again. We can start tasting trophies again. And by proxy, the Glazers would make more money. Because football success on the pitch affects a club's ability to make money off of it. Who could possibly have thought? I know, bombshell. Absolute bombshell. I'm going to have to go and sit down after that. And look, this is said in the article by the Athletic again, which is absolutely true. Barada wouldn't have left Manchester City unless it was probably Man United, Bayern Munich, Liverpool, Real Madrid, or Barcelona. I think they're pretty, in my opinion, they're pretty much the only clubs that could have knocked on the door for Barada and said, "We want you to be our new CEO." It's a promotion on being the chief of football operations for the whole of the City Group. Like, he is the CEO. He's the man in charge. The final decision-making process now is Omar Barada's. And that bit there in the middle, I've been saying this so often that it's painful. The allure of restoring United to former glories as part of a new internal structure with sporting pedigree is a difficult proposal to turn down. I remember Diogo Dalot saying something similar to that last preseason. That right there, should be the driver and the whole driver of any mentality at Manchester United. You could be the player, the manager, the sporting director, the CEO, all of you. You could be responsible for making Manchester United the biggest club in England again. And that is a career defining legacy that's going to supersede anything that Barada has done at City. Anything. And that's Manchester United. We still, despite everything, we've still got that pull. What else have I got down here? Oh, this part I thought was quite interesting. You know how people have been speaking about the 115 charges. Surely it's a risk if Manchester United bring Barada in, and this is, of course, we know this, right? But Patrick Stewart, who's the current interim CEO, was asked at that all-staff meeting about the charges, and he said United have conducted the due diligence on Barada and are confident in his appointment. So United have done the background research with Barada and have decided one of two things. Either he hasn't done anything, or if he was involved in something, they're confident that it's not going to stick. It's one of those two things. And as is written down there, priorities are now shifted to a sporting director and a head of recruitment. Like, you can predict. You can predict what's happening in a good way. You can't predict when it's going to happen. There is absolutely nobody that predicted Omar Barada and it being announced at the weekend, right? Everybody knew that we were looking for a CEO. Nobody expected it to be him. Nobody expected it to be so quick. With the sporting director and the head of recruitment, I'm hoping it's Ashworth and Mitchell. It might be, it might not be. But we know that we're going after those two. It's not a case of, oh, wouldn't it be nice if we get a sporting director and a head of recruitment? Like, you can say with absolute confidence, Manchester United are going to get an elite sporting director, and Manchester United are going to get an elite head of recruitment. Like, guaranteed. We don't know who, but we are filling those positions. And that in itself is a positive concept. I really have been so impressed by these first few weeks. I did not expect INEOS to action this much change this quickly and even gain more power. Right, I'm going to read some of your comments out. Top Death Angel Sam, what happens if Barada is charged? Well, if Barada is charged, then I don't know. I mean, you got, is it Paratici, who was, I suppose, a completely separate, are they separate things? He ended up getting suspended from all football activities. Was he like semi working in the background? I don't know. If he got charged, I imagine he would get suspended from football activities. But I don't think he will be. Otherwise, Ratcliffe and INEOS wouldn't have taken. If it was that much of a risk, do you think they would have pinned their whole sort of 1.5 billion investment and everything they've got on a guy who might get charged in like 7 months' time? Like just if you really kind of let yourself think about it, you go, well, they just wouldn't have taken that risk. Surely they would have looked somewhere else. Dan, I'd love INEOS to be in charge of my decisions and finances. Yeah, go on, lads. Sort of bank account out. Get it done. David is saying to Sam, I thought INEOS was taking the debt away from the club. David, if I remember, that was part of the original 69% offer to buy all the Glazers shares. And that included financing a loan to buy all the debt away from Manchester United, clear it all, and then put that debt onto INEOS's books, which hasn't happened yet. But debt is going to be a big part of the conversation that happens with Ratcliffe when he faces the press in a couple of weeks' time. So expect there to be some insight and maybe a verbal plan. Say like the intention of INEOS is to clear the debt of Manchester United by the start of 2026 by these means. They might lay that out. I don't know whether they'll be that specific though. But we'll find out. We'll find out. A quick run through of stuff that's happening around with United as well. I think I've been speaking about midfielders, and I forgot to mention Amrabat's name twice, which is quite funny, really, considering of all the players, some people have a go at me for overhyping Onana. No, I'd still stand by what I said. He should be a transformative signing this season. If we actually, can play out from the back with the ball, would be nice, wouldn't it? We still can't do it. And Onana's just made an absolute bucket load of individual mistakes as well, and the pressure's got to his head. I still think he'll come around. I don't know whether he'll come good. We're going to find out in the second half of the season. But Amrabat yesterday against Zambia. I know it's against Zambia. But Amrabat should be a better player for the United than he is. Let's find out. I hope that we see a different Manchester United in the second half of the season. And I hope we see a kind of a more influential Amrabat. But remember, Casemiro's returning. And remember, we've got Kobbie Mainoo coming through. Somebody who was never, ever going to have an impact on the second half of this season, in my opinion, is quite literally not going to have any impact whatsoever. It is the most fitting end for Anthony Martial. And I don't say that with any sort of pleasure and enjoyment. But it is the most fitting end. Him having surgery, he's out of action for 10 weeks. His contract expires. Goodbye, Anthony Martial. Very much one of those signings you're just going to have to put what if next to it. Good luck elsewhere, I suppose. But isn't it mad how skint this football club is right now that we have got a 20-year-old in Rasmus Højlund as the only available striker option? Rashford's not a striker, and I won't be told otherwise. He's a left winger. I mean, who else we got? Better answer on a postcard. Scott McTominay? Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, go on in. That's going to win. That's going to get us to where we want. We can't even really sign one on bloody loan. Like we can't even look in the like lost property bin in the back of PE class anymore. We can't even afford to go in there. It's mad. I still, for some reason, just expect United to pull something random out of the bag in the next 6 days. But there is diddly squat. There really is diddly squat on United signing a new striker. I don't get it. On Pellistri, Granada are waiting for United's final for the green light. Talks are at key stages. It looks like Pellistri's going out on loan. And it looks like, it doesn't look like, we know full well that Erik ten Hag just doesn't feel that Pellistri is the right man for him on the right wing. Okay? and you can disagree with it if you want to. I'm just telling you the truth. Doesn't see that whether it's a technical issue, whether it's something he does in training, you can speculate and you can have your own assumptions. But Pellistri's going out on loan, and it means United's options on that right wing for the second half of the season. We're looking at Garnacho, we're looking at Anthony, and we're probably looking at Ahmad as the three options on that right wing. There's no space for Pellistri. Let's make you laugh. Man United played yesterday. Oh, Man United lost to Burnley. Never mind. United using yesterday as an opportunity to get some fitness into the legs. I swear there was a meme going around about that. Who was it? There was a manager who was I think it was Chris Wilder or something. Talk about fitness anyway. Random there. But we played yesterday. We lost yesterday. What else are you saying down there, that Pellistri? Pellistri will one day come good. We'll see. Well, we'll see. Walsall, his son Anthony is, though. You know why Manchester United are trying their utmost to try and get more out of Anthony. There's like 83 million reasons why we're trying to get more out of Anthony. And I mean, if you don't understand that, well, I feel like it's so easy just sell Anthony in January. Boom, gone, rid of him. Sell him to who? Look, Valencia offered 50 mil. It's not Football Manager. No one's doing that. No one will want to pay the amount of money that we might be able to sell Anthony for in January. And I think the Man United could and probably should be looking at selling Anthony in the summer, but Sod knows about the price. But I'm probably about to ruin your day. I mean, I do that every day at 10 a.m. anyway. Wait, but I'm definitely about to ruin your day because this ruined my day yesterday. It hurts my eyes to look at it. I don't think there's anything that's made me feel as old as this, and I don't know why. Hernandez is bald. Nothing against bald people. But it really shook me seeing this yesterday. 13 years. He's back at Chivas. Is it Guadalajara? I think it is. He's bald. He's bald. Man, that shocked me. Man, yeah. A comment there from Junior saying that's a guy we could use right now. A little fun fact or fun question. What was special about the first goal that Javier Hernandez scored for Manchester United? Answer on a postcard. Little P is now old P. He's now sort of left out in the sun P. That's what he is. Dan Roberts saying he should get rid of all the hair. Yeah, he's got to get rid of that monk haircut. He's got the... I hope I don't do that. I'm definitely shaving it all off and then putting a toupee on if I do that. Steve, he's saying, will the income from loans balance the FFP overspend and allow us more spend in the summer? The loans will reduce our wage output, so it will have a positive effect, but it won't have a major effect. The big effect is going to be coming from sales, and particularly sales of academy players, because it goes down as pure profit. Let me see what you're saying down there. Yeah, Josh, you got it right. Came off his face. Wasn't it against Chelsea? I think Chelsea in the Community Shield. It's crossed in the box. He just booted the ball into his own face, and then it went in. I love that goal. But I loved Fernandez, Matt. Not Fernandez, Hernandez. What a signing that was. I think we signed him just before the World Cup. God, it's just... I reckon I should be able to get him on for an interview at some point in the future. That would be wicked. Anyway, I told you I was going to ruin your day, and I absolutely did just ruin your day. And this is what you said yesterday when I think Man United released a video with Fergie. Man, that was at that time we had... What was it? When did he leave? Was it Van Gaal got rid of him? I think it was. 2015, 16? 2015. Because there was that point in time, I think, where we had, if I'm not mistaken, we had Rooney, Van Persie, Falcao, Hernandez, Di Maria, Like on paper, our attack was silly. Like silly in terms of the names we had. And then the football was garbage. Absolutely garbage. I still will stand by the fact that the worst football we've seen post Fergie was under Van Gaal. Shax is saying, do you have any other interviews lined up? I do have a really, really good interview lined up. I'm not telling you anything more just yet, but if it comes through and we manage to do it properly and it's well received, it is going to open new doors for United People's TV and who we can bring into the channel. That's what I think. So anyway, but this is definitely going to be my lunchtime video today. I'm going to go into this in a lot more detail, and I'm going to sort of piece together the examples that we've seen up until this point that's kind of been hinting at this behind the scenes already. I'm really going to look forward to that video. I'll say a big thank you to all of you who joined in as always. This afternoon, you'll be happy to know, I've got another 4 hours booked in to work on the new. It's not just the new software. The software is not the problem. It's the design, it's the setup, it's the engagement, it's getting everything linked, the Discord linked, everything is really going up another level. Hopefully from next week onwards. But we'll see. Depends how quickly I can get it done. Big up to all of you. Thank you for tuning in. I need to restart this computer because I'm still getting flashing cameras and it looks like I'm getting in slow-mo now, but no one said anything in the comments. So that's worked out quite nice. But much love. I'll see you tomorrow morning for a Friday show. Big up that. And we've got Newport on Sunday. Football's going to be back from Sunday. And as I said yesterday, it's kind of looking more like a revolution than a rebuild under Ratcliffe. And we need a revolution at United.